cab lights, your marker lights here, your turning signals, they're properly mounted and secured. That's also your four-way flashers, left and right turn signals, running lights. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. They're free of excess moisture and amber in color. Your headlights are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, missing, free of excess moisture and clear in color. Underneath the truck, there's no visible puddles indicating a possible leak. Our wires and hoses, they're properly mounted and secure. They're not cut, torn, frayed. They're not arced, and I hear no leaks. Your air compressor and your power steering pump, they're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, broken, missing, and I hear no leaks. They are gear driven. Your oil, we would check to make sure it's at the proper level between the full and fill mark on the dipstick. Your power steering reservoir is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, missing. It is capped properly, filled to the appropriate level, and is not leaking. Your alternator is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. The wires are not frayed. It is belt driven, and the belt is not cut, torn, and has no more than 3/4 inch of play. Your steering box is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, missing. It is not leaking. Your steering linkage between the box and the axle is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or missing. All castle nut and Carter keys are in place. Your spring hangers, U-bolts, leaf springs, and shock are properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, missing, and the springs are not shifted, and the shock is not leaking. Your air line and your ABS line are properly mounted and secured. It's not cut, torn, frayed. I hear no leaks, and it is not arced. Your brake chamber is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, dented, or missing. I hear no leaks. Your brake rotor, caliper, and pads are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or missing, free of excess moisture or free of excess dirt and grease, and they're not worn excessively thin. Your wheels or your tires are properly mounted and secured. They're worn evenly, no less than 4/32 tread depth. The sidewalls, they're not cut, bulged, or bruised. Your wheels are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes. Your lug nuts are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or missing. You see no shiny threads or rust trails indicating a possible loose lug nut. Your hub seal is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or leaking, and all hardware is in place. Your valve stem is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It is capped properly. I hear no leaks, and we would check with a tire pressure gauge for manufacturer's spec on the tire. Your coolant reservoir is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. It is capped properly, filled to the appropriate level, and is not leaking. And then our water pump is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, missing. It is not leaking. It is belt driven. Belt is not cut or torn, and has no more than 3/4 inch of play. Your mirrors are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. The door is properly mounted and secured. It opens and closes properly. The weather seal is properly mounted and secured, intact. It is not leaking. The door hinges are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken. Your steps and catwalk are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken, and free of obstructions that would cause you to trip. Your fuel tank is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or missing. It does not leak and is capped properly. Our exhaust is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or missing. It's free of soot trails and rust trails indicating a possible leak. Our frame and cross member are properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, damaged, missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes. Our drive shaft underneath there is properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, damaged, missing, free of obstruction that would get tangled up in it. Your torsion bar, shock, and airbag for the rear suspension is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or dented. I hear no leaks. Your spring hanger leaf spring and U-bolts are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, missing. All hardware is in place and the springs are not shifted. Our airbag or our air lines to our brakes are properly mounted and secured. They're not cut, torn frame. I hear no leaks. Our brake chamber is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, dented, or missing. You hear no leaks. Our slack adjuster, push rod, pin, and keeper are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing, and your slack adjuster has no more than 1 inch of play. Your brake drums and shoes are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or missing, free of excess dirt, and grease, and they're not worn dangerously thin. Your tires, properly mounted and secured. They're worn evenly, no less than 2/32 tread depth. The sidewalls, free of cuts, bulges, and bruises. Bud wheels, they're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes. They are self-spacing with no obstructions in between. Our lug nuts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken. All nuts are present, and there's no rust trails or shiny threads indicating a possible loose lug nut. Our axle seal is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken. It is not leaking, and all hardware is in place. Our valve stems are properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, damaged, or missing. I hear no leaks. They are capped properly, and we would check with a tire pressure gauge for manufacturer spec on the tires. Our mud flap is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. The DOT tape is present and undamaged. Then our lights underneath the trailer. They're properly mounted and secured. These are known as 4-in-1s. They're your running or your parking lights, your left and right turn signals, 4-way flashers, and brake lights. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, missing, free of excess moisture, and red in color. Then your reverse lights are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or missing, free of excess moisture, and clear in color. And there's proper spacing in between your truck and your landing gear for a proper turn. Now we'll do our coupling. Our glad hands and electric supply line are properly mounted and secured at the truck and the trailer. They're not cut, torn, or frayed. I hear no leaks, and they are not arced. Our air slide lock is properly mounted and secured. It's not cut, torn, frayed, and I hear no leaks. Your trailer apron is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes. It's greased properly. Your kingpin is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It's free of illegal welds. Your fifth wheel is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It is greased properly, and there is zero gap in between it and the apron. Your locking handle is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It is in the locked position with the jaws around the shank of the kingpin. Your fifth wheel slide itself is properly mounted and secured. Right here. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It's free of illegal welds and drill holes and is in the locked position with 6 pins, 3 on each side. Your sliding rail is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing. It is not broken. All hardware is in place. In your trailer itself, your header and your sidewalls are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, missing. They will securely hold the load. You have lights, one at the top here, and the top bottom and top back there. They're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, damaged, missing, free of excess moisture, amber in color to the front, red in color to the rear. Your DOT tape is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, missing, and it is undamaged. Your frame and cross members, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, free of illegal welds and drill holes. Your landing gear is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken, free of illegal welds and drill holes. It is in the raised position with the handle stowed away properly. Your turn signal is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing, free of excess moisture and amber in color. Your air and electric supply lines properly mounted and secured. They're not cut, torn, or frayed. I hear no leaks, and they are not arced. Your sliding tandem rail is properly mounted and secured. It's not cut, torn, or cracked, broken, or missing. It's free of illegal welds. Sliding tandem itself is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. It is in the locked position with 4 pins, one here, one there, and they're on the same on the other side. Your air lines are properly mounted and secured. They're not cut, torn, or frayed. You hear no leaks, and they are not arced. Your brake chambers are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, dented, or missing, and I hear no leaks. Your slack adjuster, push rod, pin, and keeper, again, are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing, and there's no more than 1 inch of play on the slack adjuster. Your brake shoes and drums are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing, free of excess dust and grease, and they're not worn dangerously thin. Your tires are properly mounted and secured. No less than 2/32 tread depth. The sidewalls are not cuts. They have no cuts, bulges, bruises. The bud wheel is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes. It is self-spacing with no obstructions in between. The lug nuts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. And I see no shiny threads or rust trails indicating a possible loose lug nut. Your axle seal is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing, and it is not leaking, and all hardware is in place. Your valve stems are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, missing, free of leaks. I hear no leaks. They're capped properly, and we'd use a tire pressure gauge to check for manufacturer spec on the tire. Our mud flat is properly mounted and secured and is undamaged. Our safety hook is properly mounted and secured, and it is undamaged. Our ABS light is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. It is amber in color and free of excess moisture. Our lights on the back of the trailer, we got 3 up top and 4 down here. These are known as 4-in-1s. They're your left and right turn signals, 4-way flashers, parking, and brake. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing, free of excess moisture, and red in color to the rear. The DOT tape on the doors and bumper are properly mounted and secured and is undamaged. The DOT bumper itself is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, broken, missing, free of illegal welds and drill holes, and all hardware is in place. Your door handles are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, missing, and free of illegal welds and drills. The door itself opens and closes properly. The weather seal is properly mounted and secured. It is not leaking. Your door hinges are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. The inside of your trailer, your header, your sidewalls, and your floor are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. They're undamaged. All hardware is in place and will securely hold the load. And the dog don't bite.